Homeland Security comments on a startling recent announcement. Ted Dog updates you on the latest in Wilmington sports, and your anchor persons have all the news you need to know tonight on PS News.
Good evening, Wilmington, and thank you for joining us. I'm Rachel Boydston.
And I'm Ryan P. Trimble. Up tonight, was Whitney Houston killed by a racist cabal of powerful homosexual midgets? And were these midgets actually just really tall toddlers? The story behind these stories is the real story, and what a story it is. But first...
2 weeks ago, people all over the United States celebrated Groundhog Day 2012. This annual event predicts the weather by pulling Newt Gingrich out of his tree stump to determine if he can see his shadow. Reports indicate he saw not only his shadow, but also a colony of kitten people on Jupiter in the year 2025.
Officials report that a heart en route to the hospital Santa Elena in Mexico City was accidentally dropped on the hospital's sidewalk before the surgery could take place. Luckily, it was still able to be successfully transplanted into the 28-year-old patient, who did not yet know that her new heart was dropped in transit. According to doctors, however, she is sure to figure it out when she, quote, finds a big ol' cigarette butt floating in her bloodstream, end quote.
The 54th Annual Grammy Awards were this past Sunday at the Staples Center in Los Angeles, California. After facing many challenges this past year, including surgery to repair her vocal cord, Adele took home 5 awards, including Album of the Year. As such, the Grammys will henceforth be known as the Adele Awards, and all the statues will be made of angel food cake and pudding.
We now turn to our sportscaster, Ted Dog, for the latest in area sports. Ted?
Ted Dog here with your latest and greatest sports news in the Wilmington area. Hot off the presses, Little League Baseball. Still early in the season, but obviously not early enough for the Forest Hills Marlins to take the first horrifying loss against the Sunset Park. In this reporter's opinion, the loss was due to a lack of good training regimen and performance-enhancing drugs during the offseason. Analysts agree a good solid cycle of 5-alpha DHT would have put those kids ahead in the lead.
Isn't your analysis a bit harsh, Ted? Shouldn't these kids be focused on having fun and teamwork?
That's the type of attitude that keeps the Chinese ahead of us, Rachel. Moving on. Tar Heels are at it again. UNC men's basketball. Tar Heels suffered an embarrassing loss to the Duke Blue Devils. Yep, this reporter was in attendance to watch the prolific game as it unfolded before my very own eyes.
Now wait a second. Aren't tickets for that like $1,500? Did you get press tickets, Ted?
Please, people. I'm a reporter. I have to be on the front lines to watch an epic battle like this take place. What would you expect me to do? So, might have borrowed some from the PSL slush fund, or as the paper pushers like to call it, the yearly budget. But with a battle like this at stake, epic proportions, 2 titans facing off in an age-old rivalry, this reporter got front row seats to watch it all unfold. It's unfortunate that, old Ted Dog here probably took an anonymous tip too many and put all of his money on UNC winning this game. Not a really good bet. Which brings me to my next point. Ryan, I think we might need an advance on this sportscast. Or else, I think old Ted Dog might be making his next sportscast from a full body cast. Underwater. Well, that's all I wrote on this cocktail napkin, so, back to you, Ryan.
Last week, the Susan G. Komen for the Cure Foundation pulled funding for Planned Parenthood. After protests and accusations that this original decision was based solely on political reasoning, the foundation decided to reverse its decision and continue funding the organization. When questioned about the sudden changes, Nancy G. Brinker, founder and CEO, stated, quote, "We just want all the breasts and all the vaginas to get along. No homo." End quote.
This week, a man in Utah accidentally played pornography at his child's birthday party instead of the Smurfs. It was reported that the only difference between the lewd film and the children's movie was the placement of Papa Smurf's hat.
In the recent wake of absolutely nothing, Homeland Security has released a list of warning signs to aid concerned citizens in reporting to the police possible violence against the state. The list has been called misguided, unnecessary, and downright draconian. We have here with us today Josh Buchanan, a spokesperson for the organization. He's joining us live from Washington. Nice to have you, Josh.
I doubt it.
Mr. Buchanan, The list that Homeland Security released only last week claimed that people who speak out against the government are more likely to commit violent acts and that concerned citizens should immediately report any suspicious activity to the police. Many people find these comments to be unsettlingly oppressive. How do you respond?
Well, Ryan, we at Homeland Security only have one thing in mind: to keep America safe. And if that means turning in our neighbors to the police in the name of safety, then so be it.
The list states that we should turn in friends and family if they exhibit behavior that's deemed un-American. Isn't the point of America's existence so that the people can say and believe whatever they desire, even if it's opposed to government standpoint?
It's an empirically verifiable known fact that anyone who shares a different opinion than the United States government is in fact a Koran-thumping, baby-killing, Coca-Cola-hating terrorist. We just want to make sure the public always knows what's out there.
Final question. If I told you that Rachel here hates hot dogs and baseball, loves smoking marijuana despite a complete lack of medical problems, and has sometimes participated in group events that could be described as kinda Taliban-y, what do you recommend I do?
I recommend that you report him, or her, you can never be too sure, to your local authorities, so he can be immediately reprimanded, and then lemonade boarded. It's like waterboarding, except we use mics instead of well water.
Thank you for your time, Josh. I doubt we'll ask you back again.
Thank you for watching PS News. We'll be back next week with more of the news you know you need to know. Until then, I'm Ryan P. Trimble.
And I'm Rachel Boydston. Good night, and on with the show.